In this lesson, we will talk about picking selects or choosing selects, and we will talk about what that is and why it's important. Okay, so let's open our footage folder, and if we double click on one of these clips in our project window, it'll open up the preview of it in our source panel. Now this is different than our main editing program monitor. In our program monitor, it's black right now because we have nothing in our timeline. But in our source panel, this represents clips that we have selected in our project panel window. For example, if we double click on another clip, it changes here, but this is still black because there's nothing down here. Same thing with music. If we were to double click on this clip, it shows our stereo song that we have imported. Okay, so let's go to this clip, for example. Now, the idea in editing is not every piece of footage that you film will be perfect. So the idea of choosing selects means that you will be selecting the best clips you have so that in your sequence, in your edit, you are working with only the best of the best. You're not going to be confused by parts of your footage that are at the beginning or the end that are not useful. And once you can organize and kind of filter out all of the unwanted parts of your footage, you'll be left with just your selects. Okay, so to start picking selects, we can do a few different things. My workflow is I typically create another sequence. So we'll go File, New, Sequence. We will create another 1080p sequence because we are working with 1080p footage. We will call the sequence name All Footage. We will go to OK. And then inside here, we will drag down all of our footage. Then we have our original sequence, which is our edit. In our edit will be where we place all of our selects that we collected from our footage, all footage sequence. In other words, as we are going through and watching all of these, if there's parts of the clips that we don't like, we will make a cut in the clip, and then we will only copy over the good parts that we want in our actual edit. So let's get started with that. So let's zoom in a bit. We have our footage folder selected and our timeline highlighted in blue. We can click on the plus on our keyboard a few times until we're as close as we want. We can hit the space bar. And it looks like around, I'd say there, when this part starts to be coming closer to the right side of the screen, that's where I'd like to start on this clip. So we don't want anything on the left to be brought over to our edit. So we need to make a cut point to split this clip into two clips. So how we do that is we need our cut tool or our razor tool. Depending on the version you are in, it might be called cut. So if we go over here to our tools section, we see our razor tool here, which has the keyboard command of C. So we can either click that, and then we can see that we have a different cursor type. If we go back to our original one, now we have the original cursor. Or if we press C on our keyboard, it changes it to the razor tool as well. So if we click on the clip in this spot, it will cut the footage in that area. Now we can do as many different cuts as we want, and basically that's how you cut footage. Let's Command Z to undo those. Just leaving the one. We'll press V, which is our selection tool, to bring back our original cursor. Now we will zoom out just a bit, and now we will play. And we are looking for the end of the clip. So that's good for that. I'm just kind of picking it randomly here just for the purposes of what we're learning here. So let's go C, cut there, go back to V, click there, and now we're going to copy it. So we can either right click and go to copy, or we can, while it's selected, press Command C. Then we go over to our edit, and because this is at the beginning of our timeline and we have V1 selected, it'll paste right here. So we can press Command V, or we can simply paste the item. Now we can paste as many times as we want because it's a copied item. So we could, if we wanted the same clip back to back, we can do that. We don't want that, however, so we will delete those four. And then if we watch this back, we can see the trimmed clip that we brought over from the all footage sequence that is now part of our selected clips. So now let's go back to all footage. Let's continue going through this. That's the same clip, so we don't want any of that. Let's scroll over. We'll click and drag on the timeline cursor to scrub through the clips, or we can simply press play and watch it in real time. Sometimes it's a little faster to just scroll through to quickly find a spot in the clip, so whatever works for you. So I think this section is fine, so what we'll do is we'll press C, we'll cut there, and we will Command C, and because the timeline cursor is at the end now, we can copy and paste it into this section. If your cursor was here and you tried to paste it, for example, it will trim the clip where you paste it, which is not what we want. So if you have moved the timeline cursor and it's not at the end, you can simply press the down arrow on your key to go to the end, or the up arrow key if you want to go to the beginning. So for us, we want to paste this after this clip, so we'll press the down arrow. That'll bring us to the end of this clip, our next edit point, and we will press Command V. And now we have this clip, which turns into this clip. Now, the idea for selects is we would go through all of our footage. It takes a little bit of time, but it ends up being a lot more organized, and this is a very non-destructive way of editing because all of your footage still exists on this sequence and can be referenced at any time. If you were to only edit with your footage here, you could go back and bring all your footage back again, but then every single time you need to get an extra clip, you'd have to go back to your footage folder, open up a new sequence, or drag all this stuff down into this sequence at the very end. And it's just a lot more efficient if you have all of your footage here. As I said before, this is what's known as non-destructive editing. So once we have all of our selects picked, I'll just do this quickly. Pick this one, copy it over. And the more you do this, the faster you will get. So I like the reveal kind of right there. And I like it until it shows that. So we'll copy it. Okay, I like the reveal of the background past the green leaves. We can take that clip from there to right there. We can copy it over. We'll take that one from right there. Command C, Command V. We'll go to the C tool and cut it, and then take it to right there, select it, Command C, Command V. Sometimes, as you'll notice, it'll autosave by itself every 5 minutes. I like the beginning of that, so we'll take that clip. And we'll end with the wide shot, revealing the whole tree. Command C, Command V. Okay, so in our all footage sequence, you can see that when we move the timeline cursor, this number changes. Because we have our footage set to at the very beginning, wherever we move this will tell you how long this duration is. So right now it's 3 minutes, 4 seconds, and 7 frames. You'll notice that our selects are only 57 seconds. So we've trimmed about 2 minutes off of all our footage, and now we have our selects, which is a lot more organized. It's a lot more efficient this way because now we're only working in our edit with this footage. So when we start making creative decisions on when the next clip will show, it makes it a lot easier than having to, on every single clip at this point, delete the parts we don't want.